Okay, in this video, we're going to look more closely at the main body paragraphs for the essay, which is on IELTS Writing Task 2. Why is this important? Again, this is about task achievement. You need to have a clear position throughout your essay, but that position needs to be fully supported with plenty of ideas and details to support those ideas. This also relates to coherence and cohesion. And in this video, we're going to look at how we can use some cohesive devices. What I hope is that you can develop your own bank of cohesive devices which you can use on any essay. So, you may recognize this example question from a previous video. I'll give you a chance to read that again. And if you can't remember, I'll also give you a chance to identify the task. Then, I want you to look at the color-coded structure that I have for a main body paragraph. So I'll give you a chance to review this. Now, if you remember, this is a problem solution essay. So well done if you've identified that again. But you can see the structure that I'm going to use for this main body paragraph, which in this case is going to talk about the problems associated with rising sea levels. I've color-coded that. I have the blue topic sentence. That's going to link back to my introduction. Then I'm going to have two supporting ideas. These supporting ideas are going to have further evidence. Now, what's really important with your evidence is that it must be detailed. You are most likely going to lose points if you repeat ideas on your essay. So to ensure that you don't fall into the trap of repetition, you need to make sure that your evidence is detailed. Now, just to add, you may also have 3 supporting ideas and 3 pieces of evidence, but in this case, and I think in most cases, probably 2 is enough to make the 250 word limit. So here is an example of a main body paragraph that I've written. You may also notice here that I use some red. The red in this case indicates that it's a cohesive device. So I'm going to give you a chance to read this whole main body paragraph. You may recognize the blue topic sentence from a previous video. Again, I'm linking this paragraph back to the introduction. It's very important that you always make a link to your position. It ties everything together. Now, my first cohesive device is the word first. That introduces the first supporting idea. Then, in green, I have my evidence. Again, make sure it has details to avoid repetition. On top of this indicates the next supporting idea, the cohesive device on top of this. Then I have a further cohesive device, an example of this. And again, that example provides more detail to avoid repetition. So I'm going to apply the same basic structure to the second main body paragraph. In this main body paragraph, I'm going to talk about the first solution, which is the construction of seawalls. Again, please review the structure. What I hope is that you can memorize the structure. It's a very simple one, which you can use on any essay. Now, I don't want to give away the whole essay, so this will be the last example of a main body paragraph that I'm going to present in this video. I want to give you a chance to review this, and in particular, see if you can notice the difference between for example and such as. Now, if you've recognized that such as is used in the middle of a sentence, well done. That is indeed the difference between for example and such as. We use for example at the beginning of a sentence and such as in the middle. So a slight variation on the structure, but still in orange I have my supporting idea, which is these have been used throughout history and could be effective in certain places, these being the seawalls. And then I connect that into one sentence with the cohesive device such as, and I give some examples of places where seawalls have been used. However, another cohesive device, this is a contrast, and the contrast is that these seawalls come at a great cost. And again in green, engineers will also need to consider how much sea levels will continue to rise, as well as the extra height of storm surges, some further detail to make sure I avoid repetition. So, just to review for a final time that structure that you can use on any main body paragraph, And also at the bottom, your conclusion, in which you're going to paraphrase your position and then give a recommendation with if. So just to review some of the cohesive devices and introduce some more to you, you can think about them in terms of sequencing ideas. I use first, which is a very easy one to remember. We can also talk about degree. So instead of sequencing your ideas, what you can do is order them in terms of what's most important and indicate that with the cohesive device most importantly. For explanations or examples or evidence, you can see in the example before I used for example. Another way of saying that is to illustrate. I also use such as in the middle of a sentence. For contrasting and making comparisons, you might remember the use of however. And like I say, just begin your conclusion with in conclusion. So let's wrap this all up. Keep your ideas simple, especially in your main body paragraphs. And I've said this several times, make sure that your evidence has details to avoid repetition. Use plenty of cohesive devices. Like I say, you may want to try and develop your own go-to cohesive devices which you can use on any given essay. So why don't you jump onto Grade and see how well you can write your main body paragraphs.